Supplemental math videos from Circle Christian School.
Finding the roots of a polynomial. Usually we use different types of division to be able to figure out what a particular root is of a polynomial, and then we can kind of go from there. If you're not sure what an actuary is, take a little moment and find out what they do and how much they get paid and what they need to be able to do their job well. All right, let's divide by a root into a basic polynomial, this one being quadratic. The thing here is to focus on the x that's here, and really all we're trying to do is find what we multiply to the x that will give us a 2x2, and you would say a 2x. And then we just multiply back to get the other guy, and that gives us a positive 6x. Next, we just change the signs, just like we do in regular long division. So we're going to have a negative there, negative there. The whole thing is to get rid of that guy there. And it will give us a 4x plus a 12. Now what we need is a 4x here. We're just eliminating. That's the whole thing. We're eliminating as we go down the line here. And what would you multiply to the x to get the 4x? And of course you would say, well, a 4. And we multiply back, gives us the positive 12, and we go, oh, this is great. Love it when there's a 0 remainder. Change the signs. It says goodbye, and it gives us a 0 remainder. We can do the same thing using the synthetic division here, remembering that everything on the inside is going to get added while everything on the outside is being multiplied to the next guy. So we bring the first one down and have a positive 2. Now we're going to multiply. That gives us a negative 6. It starts to look a little bit like what we did with the long division. That gives us a positive 4 and then a negative 12. And that gives us our remainder of 0. A tip would be to remember to include all your signs with everything you do. It keeps the integers happy as you go along the way. This is going to be an x, so the other root of this equation, of course one of them is x plus 3 and the other one is going to be 2x plus the 4, which in actuality we should be able to factor out a 2. So I may do that. I may factor out a 2, which would give us the x plus the 4. Sorry, x plus the 2. And then the x plus the 3 is the roots for the equation here. Interesting example that they had. Oh, well, we could have actually factored out a 2 from the very beginning here. Little things that we see as we do our problems. So moving right along, we are going to do another problem here with some long division. This one is not as readily available to use that synthetic division fun stuff. But again, this is going to be the guy who's focal here. And what we need here is a 6x to the third power. What would you multiply to the 2x2 to get that 6x3? And all great pre-cal students said, well, a positive 3x. Oops, a positive 3x. Got to make sure it's in the right place here. Where's my whiteout? Well, listen to the cuckoo clock. And then we multiply back, and that's going to give us a positive 3x. Oops, still have my whiteout going. Positive 3x. And so now we're going to do our subtraction. It says goodbye, gives us a positive 10x squared, a negative 2x plus the 8. These will go all the way here. And again, what would I multiply to a 2x to get a 10x? And that's going to be the 5, so a positive 5 here. And so that does give us our little 10x squared. Little bit unusual here, and a positive 5 all the way over here. And we're going to subtract everything again. Says goodbye. Gives us that negative 2x plus the 3. Can't go into any more, so that's going to be our remainder. This one does look a little bit different than the others. So it is a negative, so we have a 2x plus the 3 over our divisor of 2x squared plus 1. I don't like that little positive there, so I'm going to white it out. Just another problem to practice. Just watch your signs, going on back. In fact, I find doing long division on these easier than trying to do a long division with real numbers. Now we're going to try one doing the rational zero test, where we take the factors of the leading coefficient and the factors of the constant number. We put the constant number over the leading coefficient. We find factors. So this is a 1 and a 3, and this is a 1 and a 2. And we have several different possible setups for these with a little plus minus sign going on. So we have plus minus 1 over 1 and plus minus 1 over 2, plus minus 3 over 1, and a plus minus 3 over 2. And then you can just use your synthetic division here. A couple little tries to see what will work. I think I'll just, let's see, I got some negative stuff going on here, don't I? Okay, I think I'm going to do the positive one and just try it and see if it will work. So we have a positive 2, positive 3, a negative 8, and a positive 3 for our coefficients. I'm going to bring the first guy down, so I get a positive 2, and that's going to be a positive 2 in here, so that's a positive 5, that's a positive 5, that's a negative 3, and that's a negative 3. I end up with a remainder of 0. Yes, I like it. So this is a good one. And then we see we have a quadratic here, but we can also just try another root on this one. Maybe a negative 1 or one of the 3s if you want to do the synthetic thing with it. Or we can do the really cool thing and you just get out your handy dandy little calculator like so. And we graph it and see where it crosses our x-axis here with one of the roots. And I want to say, we did this earlier today, that 3 was one of them. So I may try a negative 3. Just because I know I've got a negative thing happening over here. So I don't know, but I'm just going to try a negative 3 and see what it does. So we get a positive 2, and that's a negative 6. Gives us a negative 1, so a positive 3. Oh, I love it. There we go. So it does give us a 0. It's a nice try. And so our roots are going to be x minus the 1, x plus the 3. Think a little bit backwards here. And then the one that already is the 2x minus the 1, which would be a positive 1 over 2. So this is also one of the roots right here. And then you can use Descartes' rules, and I'm just going to tell you again, the YouTube. at the ELC is probably the best way to watch Descartes' rules. So give it a gander and see if it helps you out. All right, have an awesome weekend. Mow your mother's yard. And if you are really bored, wash your car.